Hey guys, welcome back. This is Liz with the High Vintage. I am going to do a very thorough tour instructional video on how to use Vendoo. I do want to let you know this video is not sponsored by Vendoo. They're not overseeing how I work with it at all. However, if you do decide to use my link, which you could see here, um, you will save 20% off your first month, and I will earn a small commission if you decide to use my link to sign up for Vendoo. Outside of that, we're not sponsored. Okay? So, if you don't already have Vendoo, now mind you, this is how I use it. This is, I'm going to show you how to sign up and stuff like that. However, but this is how I use Vendoo on a regular basis, and I'm going to go through and give you a tour of all the options. If you have watched my video that I posted before months and months ago about how to use Vendoo, a lot of what happened in that video is no longer as of today, which is August 27th, 2022, no longer the case. Things are a lot more streamlined. The design is a little bit different. So we're going to go through that now. So what you'll do is my Linktree link is always in the description in all of my videos. So if you click on the Linktree link, it's going to take you to this page here, and you're going to find everything. My Etsy picks is, things that I find on Etsy that I think are really cool, really relevant, vintage clothing that I think definitely speaks to current trends, things like that. So that's on there. You could buy t-shirts, and then all my shops are linked on the bottom. But because of this video, I have Vendoo as the number one thing, so that way it's easy to find. You could click on that, and it's going to take you to a registration sheet. So you'll go ahead and register for an account. Now, what I want to show you is if we go to vendoo.co, if you don't want to use my link for whatever reason, it takes you to the main homepage, and then you can register, log in if you already have an account, and then it says here start for free. So all that still takes you to the same page, which is the login registration page, or not login page, but registration page. And then it'll have my name on the bottom as referred by. Okay, and the reason why it has that is because we already clicked on this link. So if you click on the link and you decide a month from now that you're ready to register, I will still get credit for it. So, okay, so we've got that gone through. So you'll go ahead and you'll register for your account, and this is what it is that you will see when you're actually ready. Obviously, you won't have inventory. This is my account. It has the Vendoo logo up here, so this will always take you back to your main inventory page where nothing is selected. This is just how Vendoo looks. So let's back up a little bit. Vendoo is a Chrome extension that helps resellers keep track of their inventory. It helps you cross list across 9 different platforms, and it will actually run analytics for you as well, so that way you can see what your most popular selling items are. It helps you keep track of your expenses to a certain degree, and I think it's fabulous. I mean, I this is the cornerstone of the high vintage digital. I see it as like another employee because of how efficient it really is, and life-saving it's really been. So in my particular business structure, I have someone who photographs for me, and I have someone who writes the copy or the listing like description for me, and then I check everything and post. So they both have access to my Vendoo because they have my username and password. However, Vendoo keeps it so that way all your payment information and your usernames or your passwords for your different platforms are kept secret as well. So they don't have access to that. They just have access to Vendoo, and that's it. So if you have employees, Vendoo is probably um, one of your better bets, only because it's so user friendly and so very intuitive that regardless of the capacity of the digital capacity of your employees, they should be able to use it fairly easy. My photographer is a retired artist. She's in her late 60s, early 70s, and she manages Vendoo just fine. My lister is actually in the Philippines, and she's in her late teens, early 20s, and she uses Vendoo just fine. So, and myself, I'm in the middle, I'm in my 40s, and I have been using Vendoo since beta, and I love it. I did try other platforms. List Perfectly is the one that I tried, and it was very clunky at the time that I was using it. Now, that's not to say that they've made significant changes. That's not, whatever. But I also subscribe to the mentality that I want to pay for exactly what I'm using. So I pay for the 125 items a month, which means I get a fresh 125 items per month. So that doesn't matter how many items I have listed. What matters is how many I import or brand new listings that I use. So to reiterate, when you purchase a plan through Vendoo, you're purchasing for those new items every month. So if you're a high volume seller and you're listing more than 600 items per month, then you'll want a larger plan. If you're a hobby reseller and you're only listing 5 new items a month, you can stick with the free plan. So, if you want to try Vendoo for free, you get your first 5 listings every month for free. So, what that means is you can import 5 of your listings and use Vendoo for those 5 listings. I do not recommend this if you're any type of professional reseller, only because it's not going to be enough. You're going to sell and want to monitor more than 5 listings. However, if you just want to give it a shot and give it a try and see how it works, then absolutely. The 5 free listings is what sold me. By the time I was on my 3rd listing, I was like, I need this in my life. It's so much easier for me. But you're going to make your own decision. So, this is what it looks like after you log in and you're ready to list. Obviously, you're not going to have inventory already ready. These will all be zeroed out. So what you're going to have to do then is link all your marketplaces. So let's do a quick tour of what each of the pages look like. So if you click on the Vendoo logo, it will always take you back to this page. You have your inventory page, you have your new item page. This is your import page. Okay. This is your analytics and your settings. Your settings can also be accessed through this little thing right here, which always stays there. So if you notice, like, no matter what page we're on, inventory, whatever, this is always here. So you don't have to go to this settings. You can go to this one and it'll take you to everywhere that you need to go as far as settings is concerned. So when you go to marketplace connections, you're going to make sure that your Vendoo extension is doing well, and it is. So you can connect up to 9 different platforms. The platforms are eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Grailed, Poshmark, Facebook Marketplace, Tradesy, Depop, Kidizen, and Shopify. There is an integration for you to use Sellhound as well. Now, Sellhound, what they do is they basically research and price and write the description for your items. So you would photograph your items directly into Sellhound and it will do it for you. So this would be, instead of like how I have my lister, you would use Sellhound instead of using a lister. And I think the last time I checked, and now don't quote me on this, but the last time I checked, I think it was about $2 a listing for Sellhound to write your listings, and it takes about 24 hours before they're ready to post. And from what I've heard, they're extremely accurate. Now, there's an integration with Sellhound within Vendoo that you get with your service, where you can run comps using Sellhound, which is really cool. Okay, so I don't know if you hear all that nonsense going on outside, but they're doing like the air raid horn checks. If you live close enough to what is it? Those power plants, you probably get them often. Okay, so I do not have my Shopify connected because it wasn't lucrative enough for me. I'm gonna go in a different direction with Shopify than listing my items onto Shopify. But if it's something where you're making your item or um, your items are very consistent, so let's say you have a replenishable or something like that, that then Shopify with Vendoo might be a good choice for you. Okay, if you go over to subscription, it'll tell you what plans you're on and what you could change your subscription. So the very basic free subscription is the $5 a month. Or I'm sorry, is the free one where you get 5 items. And you're able to undo that somehow. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sorry. But these are the different plans. You can like unsubscribe and it will automatically revert you to the 5. So it's not like you choose the free plan, you just automatically revert to the free plan. So you always have your items. So if you decide, I'm going to not resell for the next 6 months and I'm going to take a vacation and I don't need Vendoo, you can revert to the 5 free listings a month plan. And all your items will still be in Vendoo, but you won't be paying for the extra items. So that's really cool in case that's an option that you'll need. And then you could change your monthly listing plan as much as you need to, like each month. So, like if I know in September I'm going on vacation for 3 weeks and I'm not going to need 125 items, I could revert down to the 25 items. Now, one thing I do have to show you, and I'll show you when we get to the listing part, um, is that if you don't use, let's say you have the 125 items, if you don't use all 125 by the end of the month, you lose them. So if you only use 100, those 25 quote unquote listings that go are free or whatever that go with your plan disappear once the new billing cycle hits. What a lot of people do, and I'll show you how to do that, is they'll just make blank drafts so that way those drafts are always available to them. So that's another thing you could do too. Um, and it's all cool with Vendoo. Like they know that's a thing and they're fine with it. So you could do 25 items per month, this would be really good if you're just still kind of curious, but you want to go beyond the 5 free that you got. This is the one that works best for me. Um, I I'm really kind of like part time as far as like my hours are concerned, even though I do pull in um, my income that is pulled from this goes towards me saving for my store. So then you have the 250 for $30, 600 for $50, 2,000 for 100, and 4,000 for 149.99. Now, if you have a huge store, let's say you have 4,000 items in your store, but you only list 125 items a month, what you would do is you would sign up for the $150 plan right off grip and import all 4,000 of your items, which will take up those 4,000 items here. And then once you're done doing all that, cross listing and all that good stuff, you can revert down to the 125 moving forward. So you will get charged for this for 1 month, and then the upcoming month you will be charged for this. Okay? So when you change something, it's going to confirm everything here. You're going to confirm it. Now these are the add-ons. If you want to use all 9 marketplaces like I do, well, except for Shopify, Then you would put all marketplaces is one of the options is an additional $4.99. I think you get up if you do not use this, you get up to 3 marketplaces. So if you're only using, let's say, eBay and Poshmark, then you don't need all the marketplaces. But if you want to list on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and Etsy, then you will need it. But up to 3, I think is complimentary with the plan. The relist and delist function is a godsend for me. It's worth every penny of that $5. It will delist everything that you select and automatically relist it as a fresh new listing onto that particular platform. And you could do that across all the platforms that the item is listed, or you can pick and choose. The importing feature, so if we go back to my example before where you had the 4,000 items and you want to import them, it's an additional $5 to import them. But then you could take that off if you're just going to be doing, you know, a couple. So you get to pick and choose what is good for you. If they're all good for you, then you get a small discount by adding on the bundle. Then your payment stuff is there, but see, it's all blacked out. So whomever has access to your Vendoo does not have access to your payment um, the way you paid. Okay. So then it shows here I have the simple plan with a bundle, so I pay $31.98 a month. And that's all that. And yeah. So there are tutorials available on here. The YouTube tutorials are extremely helpful, and I do suggest that you check those out. And they go through like each individual thing. It's not like this where we're going over everything. The export CSV file, what you can do is you can I use this when I do inventory every quarter, so I will pull out all my current inventory according to Vendoo and compare it to what I actually have on hand. It takes me about like a full 8 hours, and I have about 500 items listed, but I have an additional maybe 300 or 400 items that are not as like my backstock that I'm pulling. So when I do inventory, I have those items separated, but what you'll do is you'll, choose whatever start date that you want to start. So if you did inventory, let's say in January, it would start from January 31st till now, or however you want to do that. And you could select all inventory, which will give you everything that you've ever listed. And then you can customize your headers, which I think is really important. I never use images. I feel like that just takes up space. I never use description. The brand I'll use, the title I use, the condition doesn't matter to me. This is like for when I do inventory. So I'll go through and I'll pick and choose like what I want, and it will generate that file, and then I could just print that and take that with me. Or sometimes if it's something where like I'm not sure if it's listed or something like that, I could just pull it up on Vendoo. I use, if you have Chrome, and I could kind of show you, but it's not going to show up too well because of the camera. But if you have Chrome, the Chrome app on your phone, you can pull up Vendoo as it is right here, or you can download the Vendoo app. Now with the Vendoo app, you can list, cross list, and delist onto eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Depop, Poshmark, and I think that's it for right now. I know that they're working on the other platforms, but I think those are, as of right now, those are the 5 that you can do everything on, which is awesome because people literally will go, like, let's say you're at the thrift store and you're like, okay, I'm going to sell this. You could take the picture at the thrift store like before you even buy it, and use like photo room or something and take the background out and have it listed before you even leave the thrift store, which for some people, like, that's perfect. That totally works well within their workflow, which is awesome. So those are your options there. Now let's take a look at the inventory page so you can get a good idea. You can search by title or SKU. So like, let's say I want to search vintage, and then it'll bring up anything that has vintage in the title. If I want to sort that by what I have as far as drafts are concerned, so drafts are unlisted inventory, okay? Active, which are listed inventory, or sold items, which are items that have sold. You can then sort by how you want to see the items. If you want to see them in a grid or by row, I prefer the row, but whatever. And then you can actually further sort that by date created, which is the time, which is when you actually made the listing. So if you're using drafts, this will sort by the drafted time. The date modified, so the last time that you went in and changed something. So newest to oldest. So if you're using the draft system, you'll will want to use the date modified because that's the last time you modified that listing. Does that make sense? That item. The recently listed, so this is really good if you are using the delist and relist function. Stay list, which they use a combination of when the last time you listed the item, how long it's been listed, has it ever been delisted or relisted. There's a couple little factors that they use when they determine what is a stay list. So this is really good for when you're doing your delist and relist. You can see which of your items hasn't been touched in a while. You could do it alphabetical from Z to A, alphabetical from A to Z, your highest price, your lowest price, or your SKU. So it'll put it in alphabetical or numeric order. Okay, so that's that whole thing. Vendoo labels is really cool. Now I think you get up to 100 different labels. So, and I'll show you that when we go through the listing, the kinds of things. So like, let's say you have certain items that you take to like the flea market or whatever, then you can label those items market. Or if you have certain items that are vintage and you want to see how they do in comparison to everything else, you can label those vintage. Or you can, however you want to use the labels. Like, let's say you've noticed that you've had something for a while and you're getting ready to donate it. You can label it donate or whatever, and then charity, and then be able to pull those up, those listings up separately from everything else. I used Vendoo labels a lot when I did markets, but I have not done markets recently because the weather in South Florida has not been cooperating with me at all. And I actually had some things stolen from me my last market, so I'm kind of like washing my hands of the market situation for a little while until I get a couple more things going because yeah, I took a big hit the last one. So not doing that for a while. But I think yeah, see, I still have market on there, so if I sort by market, it will give me those items as well. Okay. So, blah, 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 blah. Now the marketplaces are not just like they're actual buttons. So you can see if I want to further sort this, okay, it's going back to, if I want to further sort this by what's on Depop, and then it'll give me just what's listed on Depop. If I want to see what's not listed on Depop, then I will click View Not Listed and then Depop. So you can sort things out by what's listed on particular platforms and what's not listed on those particular platforms, in case that matters. So like, let's say you want to see, oh, I need to list my dresses. Oh, wait, dress. And then it'll show you like, okay, there are certain active listings that I don't have listed on Kidizen, eBay, or Grailed. If I want to see what I have listed on Mercari, so you can use these buttons to kind of further sort down your inventory depending on what you're searching for. Okay. Oh, like perfect example. So Grailed now is having people list or is accepting women's clothing. So I want to view what's not listed on Grailed. and it's going to show me everything that's not listed on Grailed. So I can go through and, you know, start listing everything that's on Grailed that's not already on Grailed. Okay, so that's your inventory page. We got it? It's a lot, I know. Um, when you're going to list a new item, you click on new items and it gives you the option to import your existing items if you have paid for the import. If you don't do that here, you can still use this import button here. It's essentially the same kind of thing. Okay, so we're going to do a new listing. You can upload your photos from your computer by clicking upload photo, or you can drag and drop. Or what my photographer does is she has a really good phone. She takes the pictures, she'll click upload photo and take the photo directly from her phone. And then it just automatically loads into the thing. So and then you'll have your title, whatever your description is, your brand, your condition. Now, mind you, this is the Vendoo form. This is not the specific form for any particular thing. It's kind of like an all-encompassing general form, okay? Your color, your SKU. I use SKU as my inventory system, which I'll show you in a little bit. Your zip code, so that way it can help you. It helps you help your platform know where the label is coming from. And then your tags, so like, summer dresses or, whatever. You could put there, whatever your SEO tags are going to be. You can have those listed there. And then you can copy those and paste them in additional tag forms. Then you're going to select your category. You can search. So let's say I have a vintage, I don't know, game. Oops. It helps if you know how to spell. And then it'll give you all the options that would possibly fit that. So that way you don't have to toggle through. Kind of eBay does the same thing. Okay, well, let's just pick one. Okay. Right. So then you enter in your weight, your package dimensions as usual, your listing price. So I'll show you on another one. But if I click price checker, it actually will take you to Sellhound. Okay, it's just because I didn't have a title, so it pulled out like the last thing I searched, I guess, and it's doing its little thing. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up. I think it's like 4 or 5 different platforms. I'm not 100% sure. But whatever is currently listed and whatever the sold listings are, and you could click it and see the specific listings and find whatever it is that you're looking for. Okay. So you're going to put your cost of the item. So this is very good for those who are using like spreadsheets for your inventory to track their inventory. You can still track your cost on individual inventory through here. And then this is your labels. So I had used jacket as an example because I have a video that I use for my virtual assistants, so that way they know how to use Vendoo too. So that's just an example I have on there, but you could do whatever labels and then your labels will show up. Okay. And then whatever internal notes that you want to put about the item, this will not show up on anything. This will just only show up on your Vendoo form. Okay. And then you will save to save it, and then it'll just revert to the normal screen, and that's it. Or you can hit save a new item and it will automatically open up a new form for you. So what my photographer will do is she'll go in, she'll click up, she does this on her phone through the Chrome app. She goes to Vendoo. I'm logged in. She logs in under me. She goes to new item. She clicks upload photo. It opens up the camera app. She takes her pictures and then scrolls down to save and new, and then it reopens a new form. She clicks upload photos, takes her pictures, scrolls down, so on and so forth. So you can, um, if you have your phone, just use the either the Vendoo app or the Chrome extension app, or not Chrome extension, Chrome app, and just get all your photos done. You don't have to, mess around with cameras or anything like that. If you prefer your camera over using that, you can take your photos, upload them into your computer, and then upload them onto the Vendoo form. Okay. Then let's go back. So I did not save that, obviously. I'm not going to use any of my I know I don't have a lot of time. I have 3 days before this 125 items expires, which goes to show you I haven't listed anything new this month, and it's been my slowest month. And yeah, what can I tell you? The kids are back at school, and they're my priority. So I know some of you feel me. Some of you are going to roll your eyes. I don't care. It's cool. So the import feature, I'll show you how that works real quick. You're going to select the source that you're going to import from. So all of your sources are there. So like, let's say you're a Poshmark seller and you want to start cross-listing to Mercari and eBay. You're going to import from Poshmark, and it's going to bring up everything that's not already imported. Now, mind you, obviously none of these items are going to be imported because I haven't used the import feature since I started. But it might be one of those things, like some people are so used to listing on eBay that they rather fill out the eBay form, like on their phone or on the computer, and then import from eBay to CrossList, which is totally fine. You have to find out what works best for you. I prefer using the Vendoo form, but that's me. I'm not you. You're going to find out what works best for you. If it's something where, like, let's say you've been using eBay for the last 15, 20 years, and the eBay form is like muscle memory and it takes you 2 minutes, it would make sense for you to list everything on eBay first and then import it into Vendoo. That just makes sense. And then cross list from there. So, you select what you want to import. Let's say I'm going to select that. You import those 10 items, and then it takes a couple minutes, but it pulls all that information for you and creates active listings with just whatever that is. So that way you can click on it and cross list from there. Make sense? You guys are still with me? Okay, so that's the import feature. Super simple, very efficient. When I used it 100 years ago, when I first started using Vendoo, it was a little bit slower. And then I had used it because some things had gotten unsynced probably like a year and a half ago, and it still works perfectly fine. Um, and then every once in a while, if I have something that, like, let's say I'm just listing it on eBay because eBay is a large marketplace, I'm probably going to sell it super fast. I might just list it on eBay real fast and then pull it into Vendoo, like if I'm listing it as opposed to having my photographer do it. So, it's there, it's worth it. Especially if you're going to be using it at least 2 or 3 times a month, it's totally worth using. If you're just importing the one time and then you're going to use Vendoo, the Vendoo form to list from there on out, then it's not worth doing. And I would save that extra $5 or $6 a month. Okay, analytics. Now, the analytics gives you a lot of really good sales data. However, it's not going to give you like super specific things. You can filter your analytics by your labels if you want to see how certain things are doing. But in the grand scheme of things, like, you would have to get really, really into like the label thing. I'm just not there, but it's there for you. So like, if you're uh, listing things that can constantly be relisted, or inventory is constantly fluctuating on, or if you like, I sell like t-shirts with my logo on it. Those are not through Vendoo because it's Printful, which is a separate program. But if I wanted to track those sales, I could do that, and I'm going to show you how that works. So this is it gives you a very okay, rewind. focus. I love the graphics on this because it makes sense to me. Revenue, profit. Like you can see, where you're at. If you're in your year to date, it's going to show you your numbers in comparison to the previous year. So, like for instance, my average sale price is up 10%. My average listed items is up 11%, even considering that I haven't listed anything new in a month. And number of sold items is up 30%. So then it breaks it down then by platform. So your marketplace revenue and profit, it's going to show you revenue versus profit, and you'll be able to see the specific numbers when you hover over it. It also gives you a bar graph, so it's really easy for you to just look and be like, wow, my ASP on Tradesy is higher than any other platform. Like I could just look at that and see that, and I don't have to sit there and crunch numbers because it's all been done for me. Or my ASP on Etsy is starting to rise or whatever. And then other is my the t-shirts, so it shows that the ASP for that. And then but see, I haven't logged everything, so yeah, a little slacker here. Anywho, then the number of sold items. Wow, Poshmark really outsells every other thing. So even though Tradesy is my highest ASP, I hardly sell anything on there. Versus Poshmark is kind of like lower middle line, but I sell a lot more. So, it depends on what game you want to play with that. But and then it shows you your top selling category, your top selling subcategory, and your top selling brand. So unbranded generally is my vintage. And then there's also vintage too, depending on what platform it's sold on. Because vintage isn't. What are you doing? Okay. We just, reset there real quick. Okay. Any hoosers. So let's get out of there. Okay. I think we've done like the grand tour. So now I'm in my inventory. I'm in my active inventory. So I have 478 items listed. I started off August with, I think it was like 511 items, and I've been pulling from my drafts as needed. But usually I just delist and relist. So I'm going to list something really quick. Let's find something. Oh my gosh, this stuff is so old. I need help. I don't need help. I need to just focus on my business. We'll list this real quick. Okay. So when my photographer took the pictures, these are the unedited photos that she had taken. I don't really bother with like the photo room or anything like that, but if you do want to use that, then by all means, I'm not going to judge you. What I do is I kind of mess with like the brightness or the contrast or saturation within Vendoo. So you can, adjust that. You can edit where the photo sits. Like let's say I want to pull that up a little or whatever. Okay. And then I want a photo of the back of the garment and then the tags, because if I list this on Depop, I'm only allowed 4 photos. So I want to make sure those are on there first. Right? See how like she didn't. So we're editing that. Now within that, I want to show you also you can zoom in, you can zoom out, you can flip it around, you can revert it. Okay, whatever it is that you need to do to make your photo look good, right? And then I'm just going to click through and just make sure that these aren't blurry. It's been a while since I've checked these. Usually what I do is after I drop off a batch of items to my photographer, she photographs them, puts them up. She won't put them away until I approve all the photos. And like I just make sure that they're clear and that all the labels have been photographed, because I forget the labels all the time. So, and she just uses like a little pin Okay. Oh shoot, I hit cancel instead of save. Save. Okay, so then I have this form that I use, and I'm going to make it bigger just so you guys can see it. It has the title, and then I just did this really fast on Google Sheets and print them out. And then I fill this out, and it goes with the garment. And my photographer then takes a picture of this so that way my lister can use this information to write the listing. So the SKU is here, and the SKU is actually, I could show you because I'm like in the middle. I use these little storage bags for my inventory, and so that is the inventory number, the SKU, the little things you can get off of Amazon. And the only reason why I use stickers as opposed to writing it on marker is that sometimes the marker will rub off on other items. Sometimes the stickers do kind of peel a little bit, but that's only happened to me once out of, I don't know, maybe 1,000 or two different times I've used the stickers. So I'm not totally worried about that, but I have had permanent marker rub off on other bags and on other garments. And so this inventory number then corresponds with this SKU. And then when this goes into my storage facility, each box that I have is numbered. So it'll be 0001 through 0060. So 1 through 60 is in one box. And I can fit about 50 to 60 items in each box depending on the box. And they're just clear totes that I use. And so that's what helps me keep my inventory cohesive throughout. And so when I do my CSV files for inventory every quarter, I sort by SKU. I don't sort by title. I sort by SKU and then title, so that way I can make sure the item that's in the bag matches what the item is in my Vendoo. This is what's worked really well for me. Every time I do inventory, I find something that went wrong. And 9 times out of 10, it's my problem. It's something that I did incorrectly, and I'm able to fix it. So that's why inventory is super important, especially if you have massive amounts of inventory. I don't have massive amounts of inventory, but I think at least doing it twice a year is hugely beneficial, and it actually ends up saving you a lot of money because you find things, or like I have a whole pile here of returns that I need to process, and so I pull them completely out of the inventory system and put them fresh back into the inventory system when they go back in. And these are all little things that I do to help keep things cohesive. And you could do the same thing. You could do whatever works for you, but if it weren't for Vendoo, I wouldn't be able to handle that at all. Especially going through spreadsheets, like I can't. That's why another reason why I didn't like List Perfectly was that how spreadsheety it was, and like I like spreadsheets, but they need to be like color coded. Like otherwise, my brain cannot. I'm a visual person. It needs to make sense to me visually. So I mean, like, listen, when I tell you each one of these are highlighters or markers. Each one of these has a different purpose, and that's just how my brain works. So I digress. So I'll have the size, I have my measurements put on there, my asking price. The original MSRP is the retail price. So if you're listing on Tradesy and Poshmark, you'll need that. So I put that on there. And then what my cost is, the weight, and then any like little things that I need to put in the description, and then the package size. I didn't circle the package size on this one, but normally I'll just circle it, but she kind of knows what they're going to be. So then I have that. She doesn't delete that. I delete that because when I go through, I want to make sure everything is correct. So I'll go through here and make sure that there's no spelling errors or anything. I'm just like scanning it, okay? And then she accidentally separated that, so we'll make that one sentence. And then my list, measurements are there, and I make sure the measurements are correct because sometimes, like if she forgets a decimal or something, and it's because I forgot the decimal, or whatever. So, and then I have my little thing about ozone therapy, um, just so people are aware of what they're getting. And then brand is good, everything looks good. So she didn't put it in the package details because I didn't do it. So whatever, I did it. And then if we wanted to use the price checker again, we could double check our price, especially since this was initially listed like 2 months ago. So we could kind of see, okay, so they're selling for about $20 on Poshmark. The average resale is about 31. Oh, there it is. Look, $49. This is sold, but it's new a tag. New a tag for 49. New without tag for 30. So new, I'm going to assume without tag for 30. And I don't see anything listed. Oh, here we go. 35 new a tag. Okay, so you can kind of make your decision based on that, which I like to do too, just because it prevents me from having to do all the research all over again. You could just click that button and then make your decision from there. So I think $25 for pre-owned, I think is pretty good. Okay. And so then when I don't, like I said before, I'm sorry, I know I'm scrolling a lot. I'm sorry. I don't use the Vendoo labels right now. I might at some point. Um, but for the dynamic of and size of my business, it just doesn't make sense for me at this point. But you do have them, and then the internal notes. So then I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to delete this photo. So when you delete the photo, you're confirming that you want that photo gone. If for whatever reason I'm like, oh no, I needed that, do not save it. Just hit your back button and it will automatically come back. So it'll go back to the thing and then you'll click on it and all the things that you did to edit your photos will just revert back to the last save. Okay? So if you screw up, all you have to do is don't save it, hit your back button, your browser back button, and it will revert to the last saved version of that listing. Make sense? But I like this. I'm going to save this. Okay, so now we have a completed listing. We have photos, everything is filled out. If for whatever reason you are missing like a mandatory thing, like let's say, I didn't have condition, it will show you incomplete on here. Okay, so you could mark it as sold if you want to say that your item was sold, let's say like, I don't know, at a market, right? You can mark as sold from here and it will ask you, well, see, it's not listed, so it's not going to do that, but it will mark it as sold with whatever, so like you will have one that says market or other, you will mark it as sold as other, and it'll go from there. Okay, I'm sorry. You can copy it. So I use the copy a lot for when I have returns. So like for instance, I'll pull out the item, I will search it within my sold listings, I will find it, I will copy it to make a new listing, make any changes I need to make, and then list from there. So you can do that as well. And you can create a template. This is really good if you have like the same things that you're listing over and over and over again, replenishables, anything like that. You can create a template and then edit as needed. But see, a lot of my items are one-off, so that doesn't work for me. Now, when you go to the eBay form, you saw I clicked on it, it takes you to the actual eBay form. And then it takes you to all the category specifics that are mandatory eBay category specifics that you need to fill out. So this is a pullover. I think it's a small. Yeah. Small. It's regular sweater. We're going to say women's pre-owned. And then the condition description is optional. Sometimes I'll put in good pre-owned condition. Okay. And I will copy that and just stick that in here. You don't have to do that. It's your eBay listing. Like, okay. If you click on show optional fields, it will give you all the fields. So if you are like the good egg and you fill out all the optional fields for eBay search, they're there for you if you want to if you want to use them. I do not. Now, shipping policy. When you go into your eBay business policies, one of them is your shipping. That has to be updated because Vendoo will pull that information for your shipping policies. So some of these like are for my print on demand. Some of these are for when I do free shipping promotions. I will every so often, like especially if my eBay's super dead, I'll offer free shipping for a while. And so then anything I list then is going to have free shipping. But anything that you choose under your business policies will import into your shipping. If you don't see the option here, it's because you don't have it selected under your business policies. So like let's say you never sell books, but all of a sudden you have a couple books you want to sell and they're going to ship media mail. They're not going to show up as media mail on your shipping policy in Vendoo unless it's in your business policies on eBay. Got it? Fabulous. Okay, so we are going to, let's see, this is 11 ounces, so it's going to go first class, one business day. And then your payment policy also is from whatever your business policies are on eBay. So like if I allowed 4 days to pay, it would show on there, but I don't. I do immediate pay. I accept returns, but also anything that is on your business policies will import here. If you do not have your business policies updated, you need to do that so that way Vendoo can pull them up. Vendoo cannot create your policy because that's like your contract that's binding with eBay. It's just showing you what's there. You can save these items as your default, as you see on here. So I have the 3 green checks, which shows me that all my default settings are being used. If it was an item over £1 and I'm going to be using priority one day, I click on that and it gives me the option to save that as a default. But I really don't use that as often. I use first class a lot more. So that's why I have first class saved as my default. If I'm a bookseller, then I would want media mail saved as my default. Make sense? I'm sure you got it. You guys are so smart. Look at you. So your shipping location is going to import from the Vendoo form. So it's always the same. The package weight is all imported from the Vendoo form. So I'm just double checking it. You can choose to do auction style or fixed price. I'm doing fixed price. I'll show you auction real quick. So you can choose your duration if you want to do an auction, your starting price, your buy out now price, and then what you want to accept offers for. Now I'm doing fixed price. Okay, and my buy it now price is $25, which I think is fair. I will allow best offers. Now, I personally don't use the automatic decline or accept offers on eBay because I want to see what's coming in, first of all. Secondly, I am selling on multiple platforms, and sometimes I'd say this happens at least once a month, so often enough for me to never do this. I will get an offer on one platform and then an offer on eBay, especially like Poshmark eBay, for an in-demand item within like a couple hours of each other. And so I kind of wait a while to see which offer I'm going to be accepting. especially with eBay when the offers come through. If you go onto your desktop, you can see what the estimated fees that are going to be taken out are, so you can kind of see what is your highest yielding profit if you're getting an offer from eBay or from another platform. So that's why I don't auto accept or auto decline. And I don't auto decline because sometimes with my older listings, when I put things for free shipping, I will edit everything in my eBay store. I will edit the price to be, I don't know, like 15-20% higher. And sometimes I get offers that are like really like lowball offers, but it's because of the price change that it seems like a lowball, but it's something I would accept. Like I want to be able to make the decision on whether or not I'm going to accept something really, really low. And then transversely, like I know I'm willing to accept, X amount off my asking price because I got the item for free or got the item for 50 cents or whatever. Um, but I don't want that coming in as my first offer. So that's why I don't use those. A lot of people use them because they just don't want the back and forth. Like, I want $25. The lowest I'm going to take is 20, and that's it. So I'm going to accept offers of at least 20, and I'm going to decline anything that's $19 and under. Okay, and you could definitely do that. On the bottom here, you're gonna make sure that it's your eBay account that's on there, that it's active, and that it tells you when that connection will expire. This you don't really have to worry about. Nothing is going to expire. You'll be fine. If for whatever reason your status is deactivated or inactive, you can reconnect it, or you can go to your settings and see what happened. Especially like if you go on here and it's a different eBay account, you can go to settings and change that. This is really good if you have multiple accounts. So then you have the option where you can save it, and this will save all the edits that you made on your eBay form, or you can list on eBay. So we're going to go ahead and list on eBay. Now, while this is listing and this thing is going, you can go through and list. You don't have to wait for it to finish. But what I wanted to show you is I can mark it as sold from here. I could delist it from eBay on here. Like, let's say it posted and I was like, oh no, I forgot, I put the wrong color or whatever. You can delist it right away. Or you can check out the listing and just make sure it looks good and everything is hunky dory. It will give you all your basic information. So your listing ID, you can see the URL, when it was listed, when it was created, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to also list this on Poshmark. The first time that I do around the listing, so because of eBay, Poshmark, and currently Depop, which is really weird, are my top selling platforms, I'm only going to list on those three. And then if it's a vintage item or a handmade item, then I'll list it on Etsy. But I'm only going to list on those three. I wanted to show you. So we're going to go through. I clicked on Poshmark. Real quick, I'll show you the drop down. You can mark it sold on eBay. You could delist it from eBay or mark as not as listed on eBay. That's really good if for whatever reason there was a disconnect between when you were listing and when it was published. You can mark it as not listed and then mark it as listed. So like, let's say, I marked this item as not listed. I can mark it as listed and copy and paste the URL into it, and it'll create an automatic connection. I know that's a lot, but having that in your head once you're doing this will make sense. I think me just talking it to you isn't going to make 100% sense unless you're going through it, and that's a problem. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, I know, I can mark as not as listed and then copy and paste a URL in there and it'll work. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So with Poshmark, I click on it to pull up the form, and I'm just going to go through and make sure everything is listed. This isn't a cardigan. This is more of like a turtleneck, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And this is a standard size small. So the reason why the size doesn't automatically go over is because each platform deals with their size differently. So this could be a small size 6'8", which, yeah, on Poshmark that's a small, but if I go on Mercari, it's going to be considered a medium. So you have to kind of decide. And then also, this can be a size 2 in Torrid or a size 2 in White House Black Market, and those are two totally different size 2s because Torrid uses vanity sizing. So these are all decisions that you have to make per platform. Yeah. And so it gives you everything that you need to make that decision within that specific platform. And then the original price, oh, darn it. See, I forgot. I deleted the. Let me see. Is it in my Vendoo form? No, just my cost. See, I was all talking to you and I forgot. I think. Let's go 75. Sorry. Okay, so 75 is on there. We can decide if we want to offer discounted shipping um, right when we list it or not. Some people do use it. I used it for a little while and I think it helped, but I think people like on eBay like free shipping more than they like it on Poshmark. Um, then your listing price, it tells you what your fees are going to be. The SKU is correct, and that's my cost. So missing size, oh, because we hit the back button without saving. Or maybe I just never selected the size. Okay. So you saw that it gave you the error because you were missing a critical item. So before you can list, it shows you can't list this. So instead of hitting the list on Poshmark, I'm actually going to show you this. See this little drop down button? You can copy and paste onto Poshmark.com. So sometimes if there's connection issues, let's say Poshmark every once in a while will do this thing where they like, I don't know, like flush their system of like robots. Not saying Vendoo's a bot. Vendoo's not a bot. But you can use the copy and paste, and it literally does it like you can see it. It's literally typing it for you. This takes a little while, and we can't get out of this tab until it's done. But if this is something that you need to do, you can. So. This is the first time I've seen it type out like this. It used to just like, but it's really making sure that it's not coming through as a bot. So if you have that issue, at least you know you can still list. And it's basically like having a person list for you. Do, 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 do. You know, yes, there's my tea. Last time I had coffee, this time I have tea. I'm sorry if you have to hear me swallow. Okay, so everything is in there. Whoa. I don't like that. So then once you finish the item on Poshmark, you copy the URL and you would come back here and you would hit mark as listed and paste the URL in there. But we're not going to do it that way. We're just going to list on Poshmark. But that option is there should you want to do it. Okay. And then I think I'm going to go ahead and while that's listing, I'm going to list this on Depop because I think that this is kind of really cute. And so as you see, you only have the 4 photos for Depop. And so those 4 photos populated. We're going to go through here. Source is pre-loved. Age is modern. Style. It has a lot of the styles on here. No. Kind of. Yeah, it can go. It's a Y2K style. Not saying that it's Y2K. It's a Y2K style. It's a woman's sweater. That's correct. We are a small. You see how this is different than the other platforms? It's just a list. The brand is there. That's where it's coming from. We're going to ship with Depop shipping labels. My address is there. This was 11 ounces, so it's over 8 ounces and under a pound. Buyer pays. I don't do worldwide unless they specifically ask. And that's going to list. Okay. And then if you go back to Poshmark, that's listed as well. All right. Now, um, you always have the option to connect more marketplaces. So, like, let's say you're only using, eBay, Etsy, and Poshmark, but you want to add Mercari, you can always do that here. It's just going to take you back to marketplace connections. So, you have all your marketplaces in their separate colors here on the right hand side. So, you see on the left hand side. So, you see everything there for you. Okay, and then you could always create templates at any given time while you're within your inventory or your listing. So the drafts are all there. These are all items that have been photographed, and the my lister has written them out. Active will show you everything that's already listed. And then if we go to date modified, newest, it will show you exactly when you listed your items. Cool. So this right here, see how it says July 15th, July 30th? This is when the item was actually created. So that goes to show you, like, your girl ain't doing too good right now. It will show you what items, or I'm sorry, it'll show you where platforms that item is listed on. So you can see, like, this one is listed on more platforms than like what we just did. Anywho, now if we go to sold, we can see. Oh, why is this still that? It's no longer listed on any platforms. This sold on Depop, but see how this one is giving us the error? This item is still listed on eBay, Grailed, and Poshmark. So if we click on that, what I will do is I will go to like the basic form and just go down and save, because sometimes it just doesn't update. Okay, and then I know I delisted this, and I went in and I delisted it off of Grailed, so now it's like empty. Okay, so, and that's not listed on Tradesy. I deleted that from Tradesy, but I need to update that. So we're gonna go, see it says delisted, so let's go ahead and save it. And now it's good. All right. Fabulous. Wonderful. Amazing. Now you know how to list something. I don't have anything I have sold. However, I'm just going to go ahead and show you. Okay. Let's sort. Let's say I sold this shirt. This is one of the older items that I have that hasn't sold yet. So it's one of those things where what I'll do when I'm like really like, okay, why hasn't this stuff sold, is I will sort by date modified oldest, which will show me my older items, and I will go through and see like, why haven't these items sold? Maybe the price is too high, maybe whatever, and then I will make adjustments accordingly. But let's say, for example, like, I feel like the title is really bad on this, and I don't have measurements. I just have the fit guide, which is not good. So anyway, so there's a couple things there, that reasons why this hasn't sold. But it's a $15 t-shirt at the same time, so I don't know. But let's say I sold this. I will go to eBay, mark as sold, or let's say I sold it on eBay, mark as sold. This will automatically delist it from the rest of the items. You do have to mark it as sold. It's not going to know that this item sold on eBay unless you mark it as sold. So it gives you a little money back. Hey, it'll tell you when you listed this, when it's sold. Okay, so this is really good if you want to go through your sold listings and see what your average time is between the category, the marketplace. Now, if you made the mistake, you could always go through and change. So these are the other options, whether other whatnot, the real, Vinted, Curtsy, Amazon, Instagram, ThreadUp, and then the rest of them are the the cross listing platforms. The brand, you could edit what price it's sold for. For eBay, it doesn't automatically calculate your fees because your fees are going to vary depending on whether or not you are promoting and also on what category you sold the item in. So, and those fees can change. So, the fees are automatically done for you. However, on other platforms, they are, and I'll show you how that works. You put in whatever your cost of the item is. If you filled that out initially, this will automatically populate and any shipping expenses you incurred. So like let's say for example, I sold this on Poshmark. I'm going to mark it as sold. See how it automatically calculates your shipping or I'm sorry, your marketplace fees. And then if I did discounted shipping, I could enter my shipping expenses there. Or if you're the type of person that knows exactly how much shipping material you're using because you're shipping replenishable stock or the same of items or whatever it is, then you can enter in however you do your shipping costs. So that is that. Now I want to show you multi-actions. So you can delete multiple items. So like let's say you screwed up on a bunch of listings, you delete them all, or whatever reason you need to delete multiple items, it's there. Okay. Um, you can export your inventory to your CSV file, which is the same as going to the CSV file that I showed you earlier in your settings. Your multi delist and relist, which is a godsend, I assure you, and your multi delist. Your multi-D list is really good for platforms that do not have a vacation option. So, like, you can hide your items on Mercari, but let's say you wanted to delist them all. Or let's say you are just done with Facebook Marketplace and you no longer want to sell on there and you want to take all your items down, you could hit multi delist and then you could actually, here I'll show you. You could hit multi delist. We could filter by what's on Facebook Marketplace. You can select those items and it will delist them for you. So like let's say I want to delist, I don't know, whatever, those 10. I can choose to just delist them off of Facebook Marketplace. I would hit confirm and it'll delist those. You are maxed out at 10 items at a time for delisting and relisting because of the fact that the platforms will kind of freeze your account if they feel that you're using a bot. Again, Vendoo is not a bot, but it is helping you get things done faster. And then one of those ways it's helping you is making sure that the platforms don't think you're a robot. So we're going to unselect those and cancel. But I am going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to date modified stale list. And it's going to show me the listings that haven't been touched in a while. Okay. I'm going to go to delist and relist. And I'm going to select my max. And I go through just to make sure, because sometimes I'll go through and I'm like, oh no, I sold that. Or $195. No, that's wrong. Or whatever. So you can go through that and you're going to hit delist and relist. And it's going to ask you which platforms you want to delist and relist on those. I do them all except for Tradesy and Etsy. I do not. And the reason being is Tradesy, this is only with my account that I know of so far. Nobody else has had this issue, but it keeps and this happens even when I use Tradesy, the app, or if I use it through Vendoo. So it's not a Vendoo issue, it's a Tradesy issue. It keeps putting everything into my drafts. So I have like, and I figured this out like maybe 3 or 4 days ago. So I have like like 200 items in my Tradesy drafts, and the only way to get them out is to publish each individual one. So, like I said, it's not a Vendoo issue, it's a Tradesy issue. So I'm just not relisting and delisting on Tradesy right now. And on Etsy, I have everything set to manual relist, so it doesn't automatically relist. Now on Etsy, you have to pay 35 cents for each item um, every, what is it, like 60 days, 90 days, or something like that. So I have manual replenishment on that. So it will automatically go to like my stale items within Etsy. And I get to choose whether or not I relist it at 35 cents. The reason why I do this is sometimes um, if I'm going to be paying to list something, I want to make sure that I've optimized everything. And there are a lot of category nuances and things that you can do on Etsy that you can't do on other platforms. Like your title can be super long. I think it's like 175 characters or 125 characters or something like that on Etsy. And, you know, there's just different things that you can do to optimize your listing on Etsy. I put things out to put it out because sometimes you're wasting that time, you know, going through your description and all that. And it sells anyway, and it would have sold regardless of what it was on there. So I put it out just to begin, and then every day I go through and see which items have expired, and I will individually look at them and be like, okay, that I do want to relist this, and I'm going to relist it as this, that, and that. So that's why I don't do that. So we're going to go ahead and confirm. Now, now it's going through its thing. It's delisting and relisting those items. I will do this as I'm getting the kids ready for school. So I wake up super early in the morning. I go to the gym because that sets me up for my day. It helps keep my head clear, helps keep me focused. And when I get home, um, generally speaking, I will list a couple things. I haven't been recently because now all three of my boys are in three different schools with three different lunch situations. So I make their lunches and everything. So as I'm going through that, I'm delisting and relisting constantly. So like right now, I hit delist and relist, and I would be in the kitchen making breakfast, making lunches, ironing uniforms, whatever I need to be doing for the kids. And so it works out really well for me. And this is also why my business isn't completely dead. Like I told you before, August has been very, very slow. August is a super slow month for me anyway because reselling kind of takes the back burner to everything else that's going on. My other business picks up dramatically around this time because people are done with traveling over the summer and they're gearing up for all the contests and like different like Biketoberfest and like all these different things that could come up in October. So, and like different rides and stuff like that. So the shop is really, really busy. So reselling kind of takes the back burner for a while, especially in August. But this month has been like I've done literally just this for the entire month of August. So you'll see it's right here, delisting and relisting items. And if you click the drop down, it will show you what it's doing as it's doing it. So like it finished these, it tells you when it's done. You can view the item if you're curious. I think I sold those. So, and then it'll go through and relist everything. You can kind of work on some things while this is in the background, but it doesn't allow you to like list or anything while you're doing this. And that's another reason why it does that, is because it doesn't want you to look like a complete robot, which is, thankful. So one thing that you may have noticed that is different between now and last time is, if you notice, I don't have anything else in my bar. The extension, the way it worked before, was that I would have to open up each individual platform and have them the tabs open in order for Vendoo to connect. You no longer have to do that. It automatically connects to those platforms without needing an open window, if that makes sense. Um, if you saw the last video, that totally makes sense to you. So I think I went over everything, right? We went over listing, we went over delisting and relisting, we went over marking as sold, we went over analytics. By George, I think we're done. So this is just doing its thing. I'm hoping we get an error so I can show you what to do. Oh, you know what? Even better. While that's doing its thing, because we might not get an error, and I'm not going to sit here having us stare at each other, waiting for an error to come through, because I haven't gotten an error in months. But if you do have a problem, you saw that little button I clicked? Let me show you. See, this is the help button. This is where all my friends live. They know me very well. If for whatever reason you have a problem, they are so nice. 99% of the problems I have are user error. And I remember one time I somehow like reconfigured my screen size, and so I couldn't get to certain things. They figured that out, and like that had nothing to do with Vendoo. It had everything to do with my Chrome screen size. I'm telling you, and they're so nice about it. There are times where I feel so stupid just because I'm really hard on myself. They are so super sweet. And now with the new way that this is set up, if you have an idea that you want to share, that like, hey, it would be really cool if I could blah 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 blah, you could send that to them and they will send it to the proper team. And I'm telling you, your voice is heard on Vendoo. Like, for real, there's so many things that they are implementing, especially in the future, that like that they are hell bent on being the only tool you'll ever need. That's all I need to say about that. You will see exactly what I'm talking about in the upcoming like months. They are going to be the only tool you will ever need. For those of you who use Poshmark tools or Depop tools or whatever, Vendoo is hellbent on being the only tool you will ever need. So I digress, but and that's all because of feedback. Now, if you sign up with my link, go ahead and message me either here, or you could find me like where I showed you on my link tree. You could find me anywhere. Just message me, shoot me a message. Hey, I used your link to sign up for Vendoo. Just wanted to let you know. And if you're on Facebook, I can add you to the two Facebook groups. You can add yourself too, but it's best if you already have the program, because on there I think it's every Tuesday, they issue like bug fixes, so you can see what they've been working on. They will if they want to beta test any like new features, you could sign up to be a beta tester. Like all kinds of stuff. And Deanna, she is their social media like coordinator. She's so cool. She's so nice. Um, I had last week I met with all the Vendoo people because they're doing a reseller tour. I think they're still doing it. And I was able to meet her in person there, and she's just like so cool. And like the owner Josh, he's so cool. They're just so cool. And it was really cool because then I was able to see the faces behind everybody in like customer service, and they're like, "Oh, you're Liz." I'm like, "Yep, I'm Liz." So it tells you if there's anybody online. If there's anybody online, they will chat with you right away. And then there's some like how to, and you can search the how to. You could also see all the conversations that you've had about past errors in case you're, let's say you forgot the solution to something, you can go back and see what they are. And you can send them a message. And when you send them a message, it comes through like a little chat bubble, but you also get an email. So, like, let's say something happens, you could let them know about it and walk away from your computer, and you will get an email stating that they received your situation, and they will respond to you via email, but they will also respond in the chat bubble as well. So, there's like two modes of communication, which is awesome. And like, you really don't have to feel ridiculous about not knowing certain things, because that's literally what they're there for. They're there to make this as seamless and as user friendly as humanly possible. And as you can tell just by like the layout of it, it's very intuitive, very user friendly. And they're there for you. So like, you can see all your customer service people, and then like, I wonder if I can see a conversation without it like. So yeah, these are like times that I've like reached out to them because of whatever, there was an error, or hey, like, I'm receiving an error and this is the error code and this is the Vendoo ID number of the item. Can you help me with this? And they respond or whatever. But it's really cool because then you can see who you're talking to. Like, you're not talking to like some dude in God knows where at like a customer service desk somewhere. These are like Vendoo people. Like, this is them. And they are like one company. And it's just, it's very, very different. Their customer service is top notch. Like, top notch. I have been so difficult sometimes where like I like want, my head wants to explode just because I'm being a jerk about something. And they are just amazing. Like, they do not rest until you are happy. No questions asked. Okay, so we didn't get any errors, so I couldn't show you what to do. So then you have the option, you could keep delisting and relisting, in which case it takes you back to the original. I could have sworn I still, oh no, they wanted measurements. That's why I didn't sell that. Um, So it takes you back to that, or you can cancel and go about your day. When you delist and relist, it does not count against your items for the month, because these are new items that you're listing every month. So, like, if you noticed my active listings, what's going on? Oh, because I'm on Facebook. Ugh. Okay. So, if you notice, like, my active listings is 479, even though I have 125 items. Those 479 do not count against that. Does that make sense? Are we happy? Do we understand that? Which I think is the biggest thing that I didn't understand when I was signing up for Vendoo. So I think we are clear. If you have any questions, please write them down in the comments so I can address it here. I do get questions a lot, like on Facebook, people message me and stuff like that if they, don't feel confident about asking about like Vendoo or reselling out on a public forum, which I get, I totally get. But I feel like if you ask the questions in the comments, when I answer them, it's so much more beneficial for everybody else who's going to read your comment, but watch the video too, because there might be something that I didn't address that is a common question, which is kind of what happened last time. So I think that is it. I love you guys so much. I hope this helped, and let me know if you liked it. All right. I love you guys. Bye.